I think that Anne Frank should be the Grand Marshal of our parade because, first, by keeping a diary through the years of captivity, Anne Frank brought a very important story to the world. First, through her writing, she put a face on the Holocaust, or told people what the Holocaust was really about. From being chased from the people who were trying to kill her because she was Jewish, to later facing the daily challenges of the concentration camps, Anne Frank showed courage in everything she did. Next, Anne Frank was a good example for us to follow. First of all, she would try to find the good things in the darkest hours. For example, when she was being starved to death in the concentration camp, she chose to tell jokes to her friends to keep the spirits high. She would also teach people how to deal with their problems and help them become stronger each day. Last but not least, she taught us how to follow our dreams. For example, as a girl, Anne Frank always wanted to be a famous writer. Now with her published diary, she's one of the most famous writers in history. We can learn from Anne Frank to stick with our dreams. Obviously, Anne Frank should be the Grand Marshal of our parade.
Dwight Eisenhower accomplished many things and had a large Colorado relationship. Yet here's a persuasive fact that'll make you vote Dwight as Grand Marshal. He was born on October 14, 1890 in Texas. He enrolled at West Point Military Academy in 1911. 5 years later, he got married in Denver in 1916. After he went to West Point, he joined the Army and became a 5-star general. Dwight, known as Ike, led 19 foreign armies to win World War II. In 1952, he was elected 34th President of the U.S. He served 2 terms until 1961. As president, one of the first things he did was ending the Korean War. In 1956, Ike signed the Federal Aid Highway Act, which was primarily responsible for creating the interstate highway system. Ike was also responsible for greatly growing the U.S. Air Force, including starting the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. As part of growing the Air Force, Ike felt that the U.S. needed to be the leader in space exploration. Then he created NASA in 1958. In addition to these achievements, Ike held the positions of Supreme Commander of NATO, North American Treaty Organization. He signed laws that helped end segregation in schools, and during his presidency, both Alaska and Hawaii became parts of the U.S. One of Ike's favorite hobbies was golf. He was a longtime member of Cherry Hills Country Club in Denver. Today, the 18th hole at Cherry Hills is named in his honor. Ike died on March 28, 1969, at the age of 78. Because of all these accomplishments and many more, Dwight Eisenhower is not only one of the greatest Colorado characters, he's one of the greatest Americans ever.
Molly Brown should be the Grand Marshal of the parade because she was an extremely brave person and an amazing leader and a very caring philanthropist. First, Molly Brown was a very brave woman. Molly Brown helped a lot of people the night the Titanic sank when she pulled people out from the freezing waters and then wrapped them in her furs. Molly Brown was so brave that she drove an ambulance in World War I in France. When Molly Brown was staying at Palm Beach Hotel in Florida, when a fire started, she saved everybody in the hotel and nobody died. Next, Molly Brown was an awesome leader. Molly Brown helped women get the right to vote. Molly Brown raised $10,000 on the rescue ship Carpathia in 2 days to help Titanic survivors, specifically the poor third-class women and children who lost their husbands and fathers. When Molly Brown was risking her life on the Titanic for other people, she was picked up and dropped 45 feet down into a lowering lifeboat and then took control of rowing the lifeboat out of danger when the Titanic was sinking. Molly Brown was a very caring philanthropist who is a person that donates money to worthy causes. Molly Brown loaned one of her houses, not the museum, to be as a hospital during World War I. Also, during World War I, Molly Brown helped blinded soldiers. Molly Brown is so famous that even my nana and granddad know about her, and they live in New Zealand. This is why Molly Brown should be Grand Marshal of the parade.
I believe Justina Ford should be our Grand Marshal because with her strong determination, she has proven she can achieve anything, even what seems impossible. Justina helped end racism by her living example of doctoring anyone, no matter what race or amount of money they had. She cared more about doctoring people than making money. She did not make patients pay if they did not have money. Justina willingly learned 8 different languages so she could talk to her patients. Justina is strong and extremely brave, and with that, she became the first black woman doctor in Colorado. She fought strongly for being a smart woman and for being black. Justina's mom was born into slavery, so she knew people's feelings towards African Americans. She is independent and determined to get her degree in medicine, and she does it with love. Justina unselfishly put the people of Denver before herself for 50 years of being a doctor. During those 50 years, she delivered over 7,000 babies. Because she delivered 7,000 babies and those babies grew up and had more babies, giving Denver more people. She bought groceries for her patients that needed food. Justina also gave people money to go to college. Without a doubt, Justina Ford should be our Grand Marshal because with her outstanding help she has given to the people of Colorado.
Jackie Robinson was an amazing baseball player. He was the only black man on his team. He was the only team he was on the team, the Dodgers. No one on his team liked him because he was black. Dan Bankhead was Jackie's teammate, roommate, and best friend. Jackie broke through the wall. Jackie died in 1972. Please vote for him.
Very good.
I think Frederick Douglass should be our Grand Marshal. His life was an example of courage. Frederick endured more pain than any person I have ever known. When Frederick was a slave, he was whipped so badly that when his wounds swelled, they did so to the size of his pinky. Sometimes the whip would actually break. Slaves didn't have beds and lived in tiny mud huts with thatched roofs. Frederick's mother died of an illness when he was just a boy, and his father was not mentioned. Despite all the pain, Frederick was a determined man. Out of all the times Frederick tried escaping, but failed, he tried again and again and again. Once out of slavery at age 20, Frederick devoted his life to educating other slaves on how they too could become free. People believed Frederick Douglass as a trustworthy man. Most of his masters trusted him because of his non-stop work without complaining. Frederick's closest friends, slaves of course, trusted him with their lives. Every attempt Frederick made to free himself, his friends followed and trusted him to lead him safely from slavery. Frederick Douglass was a man of faith and therefore trusts in God. He continued to pray for freedom and his prayer was answered. Frederick Douglass was a great inspiration. Frederick learned to read at a very young age, which was critical to his great success in life. Other slaves wanted to learn to read like him, and so he taught them. His love toward reading and writing led him to become a great spokesman for his people. Frederick Douglass had all these great characteristics and more, which is why he deserves to be Grand Marshal for a parade.